There are moments when staying silent speaks louder than any conversation. You tried, you put in the effort, you did everything possible to be noticed, to be understood, to be treated with value. But amid all that dedication, what did you find? Coldness, falsehood masked as politeness, a lack of genuine exchange. This hurts more than any shout, and eventually something inside you simply breaks. It's not anger or sadness, it's just silence, a heavy silence, full of meaning. It's precisely at this moment, when you stop chasing after them, that those who never saw you begin to realize you've disappeared. Not because you made a scene, but because who you were starts to echo in their minds. And then, that once calm mind begins to get messy. They start to understand too late the magnitude of what they let slip away. Meanwhile, you decide to leave without a scene, without needing to explain anything. And inside you, a new way of living is born. A calmer, firmer, more centered way. A place where you no longer have to ask to stay. You understand that your place is with yourself, and that's where real change happens. In your mind, you realize that disappearing is also a powerful way to be present. You see that leaving isn't giving up. It's growing. It's leaving behind everything that was too small to hold the greatness that has always existed within you. And those people who once thought your presence was guaranteed are now lost, trying to figure out where, when, and why they let slip something they never knew how to value. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into this quiet rebirth, into this strength that comes from silence and transforms the pain of being sidelined into the most powerful energy that exists. The strength of someone who has learned to stand on their own. The quieter you become, the more you start to listen. Think about it. The more you silence yourself, the more they begin to hear. Not your voice, but their own minds. They hear their own fears, doubts, insecurities. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, my friends. It's like a mirror many avoid looking into. It's that question nobody knows how to answer, and that keeps echoing long after you've gone. And today, I want to show you that your silence, maintained over days or weeks, not only makes them miss you, but also messes with their thoughts. It turns everything upside down. You're not just disappearing. You're starting an emotional effect in their minds, an effect from which they cannot escape. So, before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our deep talks about human behavior, this powerful silence that transforms, and the path to reclaiming your strength without playing games. Here, we build firmness in the mind, heart, and soul. If that's what you're looking for, stay with me. Now imagine this, an old tower with a huge bell, right in the middle of a forgotten square. While everything around is noisy, no one notices this tower. People rush by, caught up in their own problems. But when the entire city falls silent, any breeze that hits that bell becomes the loudest sound in the place. This is exactly how your silence works. When you were always there, sending messages, showing up all the time, no one cared. You were just background noise. But the moment you disappear, any memory of you becomes a shout in their heads. That's the power of leaving the scene without making a fuss. Many people believe a lie in relationships, that the more you shout your worth, the more others will value you. That if you insist, prove yourself, and give, you will gain attention. That's wrong. What makes something valuable is its rarity. What grabs attention is silence. And when you vanish, those people's worlds become chaotic. They're forced to face the emptiness your absence created. Believe me, that emptiness speaks, and it speaks loudly. At first, when you distance yourself, they think they're in control. They believe you'll come back soon, just like you always did. That this silence is just another phase. But that's just their ego trying to deceive itself. Our brains like routine, and when you break that habit, when you stop chasing after them, justifying yourself and maintaining the same cycle, they start to get lost. It's like pulling a thread from a sweater. At first, it seems like nothing, but soon the whole garment unravels. And here's the key point. Silence not only makes them miss you, but also starts making them doubt themselves. They begin to think, did I misjudge this person? Did I see everything wrong? Was I ever that important? These doubts grow like weeds in a cracked sidewalk, and even if they try to hide it, posting indirect messages, selfies with fake smiles, behind it all, it's your silence that keeps shouting in their heads. So stay with me. Let's dismantle this illusion slowly, day by day. I'll show you how silence changes the way their minds work, how curiosity turns into anxiety, pride into fear, and indifference into fixation. This isn't about playing games. It's about reclaiming your strength by doing exactly what they never imagined, leaving quietly. Write it down in the comments now. I am the silence. Make it clear. Show the world who you are. And if you're ready to understand how silence will help you, get ready, like, subscribe, and let's embark on this journey together. Day 1. The illusion of being in control. They think they know you well, that they already know how everything will end. But we only realize how much we miss the sun when the night falls. Keep this phrase tucked away in the back of your mind, because on this first day when you decide to stay silent, they still don't feel the darkness. They still think you're nearby, even when you're not. They believe everything's under control, that your silence is just a moment, that soon you'll reach out, just like you always did. They think it's just a little act, but it's not. It's the beginning of dismantling everything they imagined about you. Think of a candle lit during the day. No one notices it. The sunlight is too bright. That's how you were, always around, but almost no one noticed because everything around was noise. But when it gets dark and everything falls silent, that candle becomes the only light in the room. On the first day, they still don't truly miss you. They are too caught up, thinking that you still play a part in their routine, that nothing has changed, that you're just busy for a little while. They tell themselves, "I'll talk to him later. He's probably just occupied." They try to convince themselves that they're still in control of the situation, but a doubt has already been planted deep inside, quietly waiting to grow. They create excuses for themselves. He still feels something. She wouldn't really have the courage to leave my life for good. But here's a truth they're avoiding. The more certain they think they are, the bigger the shock will be when they realize they have no control over anything. Because staying silent isn't running away. It's changing everything inside. And then the questions arise. What if he doesn't come back? What if it's not just a phase? What if she chose peace over insisting on something that wasn't working? But hold on. At first, their pride doesn't let these questions take over. They think it's just another chapter in a book they've already read. But this time, it's a new story. It's you acting differently. It's you not dancing to their tune anymore. And let me tell you, it's not easy. At first, your mind will also try to sabotage you. It will make you want to check social media, send a message, find out if they miss you. But remember one thing. The first day is about firmness. It's about holding back the urge to break the silence before it starts to affect them. You're not doing this to hurt anyone. You're doing it to discover the truth, to see how they behave when you disappear. Few people have that strength within, but you do. The first day is the solid ground you're preparing. It's the time to plant the seed and stay still, calm, and firm. Even if they don't notice yet, the effect has already begun. What they expected is no longer happening. So repeat firmly, I have strength in silence. Write that in the comments right now. I have strength in silence. Show that you understand how much your presence is worth and that from now on, it's no longer something to be given away for free. Stay here with me because this is when things really start to change. In the first 2 days, the silence felt peaceful, but on the third, it begins to weigh heavily. Your absence becomes something palpable. The lack of messages, calls, attention. It's no longer just ordinary silence. It turns into something that tightens in their chest. They start to think, why hasn't he said anything yet? Has something changed? That's when real discomfort appears. It creeps in slowly, without fanfare. But once it arrives, it doesn't go away easily. Their minds, which were used to routine, now get lost trying to find an explanation, a clue, anything that proves everything is still the same. But it's not, and that's when everything shifts. Silence becomes a deafening noise. They try to keep up appearances, pretending they're still in control. Sometimes they post something on social media, throw out a provocation, drop a hint, waiting for you to fall into the trap. But you won't, because you've already understood that with every moment you stay firm, their ground becomes more unstable. And never forget, this isn't pride. It's protection. It's respect for yourself. It's you showing that your peace has no price. Think of it this way. When something that always worked stops working, the mind goes on alert. First comes doubt, then anxiety, and finally despair. And you don't need to do anything for that to happen. You are like a clock that has stopped ticking, a light that suddenly went out. And on the third day, your absence weighs double. They try to distract themselves, put on smiles online, but inside, their minds are filled with noise. The question hits, did I lose someone who was really worth it? That question hurts, and it doesn't leave their mind. Even if they seem fine on the outside, they are at war inside. And while they live through this chaos, you stay firm, calm, and out of reach. This is the moment when true strength is born, when you can remain quiet, even with the urge to speak. Each minute in silence is like a brick in the castle of your confidence. You don't need them to value you. You already know your worth. But here's a warning. This is when many people slip up. There's a temptation to send just one message, to peek at what they're doing. That's your mind trying to find security. But resist, because you've come too far to turn back. Each misstep gives them back the control you are taking away. And remember, they will try to pull you back into the old ways of acting, but you've already changed the rules of the game. Silence isn't a lack of anything. It's construction. It's the beginning of a new life, where you are the center of your own strength. So, every time you feel the urge to break that silence, take a deep breath and remember, the discomfort they feel now is just the beginning. The real effect is still to come. And when it arrives, you will be strong, prepared, and firm. To close this moment, write in the comments, I am the absence that makes a difference. Because now you are that. Not just a simple absence, not just any silence. You are the space that makes the other think, that turns doubt into clarity, that breaks pride and brings reflection. You have become the mirror where the other sees their own mistakes. And when they finally realize the value you always had, it won't be because you begged or chased after them. It will be because you stayed quiet, knew how to wait, and were firm like a force that changes everything without even needing to appear. So, hold your ground. Let the silence stand as proof of respect for yourself. Get ready. In the next step, that small discomfort will turn into an enormous longing they won't be able to contain, and you will be there, or not, in control of your choice. But the discomfort is already growing, and the firmer you stay, the deeper the impact will be. Let's mark this important point now. Comment, I remain firm. Write it with strength. I remain firm. Show yourself and everyone that your silence is not weakness. It's your strongest way of speaking. Stay close, because days 4 and 5 are when the cracks turn into holes. It's when they realize they've lost control of the situation. Don't go away. This phase is only going to get more intense. In days 4 and 5, the cracks grow. They aren't following you yet, but the strongest thing you can do now is to stay quiet. And here we are, in the days when silence becomes a shout. The small cracks that your absence has left begin to spread like fractures in glass. Until now, they held their composure. Their egos were still in charge. They thought, she'll message me soon, like always. But time is cruel. It turns lies into truth. On the 4th day, the real conflict begins within them. Now it's not just, where are you? But, why haven't you shown up yet? And this question stirs their pride. They believed they knew you. They thought you would have given in by now, sent a signal, liked something, or dropped a message. But you? Nothing. Not a word. Not a gesture. Just silence. And that silence speaks louder than any phrase. Imagine an old pipe holding back water. At first, the pressure builds slowly, but it holds. By the 4th day, however, the cracks start to leak. Water escapes, and the pressure increases. They feel the discomfort, the need for assurance that they still have space in your life, and they hate that. They hate it because they realize you're not playing the game they expected. You're not following the plan they created. They pick up their phones without even realizing it, just to check for any sign from you. I'm just looking at something else, they tell themselves. But inside, they're waiting for you, waiting for you to validate their egos. But here's the twist. They'll never admit this, not to themselves, not to anyone else. So they start dropping hints, posting more, sharing indirect messages, selfies, quotes about self-love. It's all a facade, a trap to see if you'll bite. But you're not a fish looking for crumbs. You are the ocean, vast, deep, serene. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to forget a song that gets stuck in your head? The more you try, the more it plays. That's what's happening. You've become their fixation. They pretend not to care, but your silence has turned into that melody that won't leave their minds. While they try to move on, you stand strong. But let's be real, it's not easy for you either. On day 4 or 5, your mind starts whispering, what if I just take a peek? What if I send a quick hi? But my friend, that's your old mode, trying to pull you back. That craving for attention is what kept you tied before, and you've come too far to go back now. Your silence today is your freedom. They need that space more than you do. They need the silence to realize what they've let slip away, because while you were giving them attention, they had control. Now that you've taken that away, the truth emerges. It's in this silence that they will finally see who you really are, even without you being around. So keep this as something that resonates deep within your soul. Write in the comments, I am like the ocean. Write it with strength, with certainty. I am like the ocean. Show them, show yourself, and show the world that you are vast, full of layers, and not easily shaken. Your silence carries pure strength. Stay with me, because on days 6 and 7, things will start to tighten up for real. That's when fear hits hard. The fear that maybe you really have gone for good. Days 6 and 7 are when fear creeps in. Did I lose them for good? What we think is ours sometimes starts to dominate us. And what happens when what they thought they had in their grasp starts to vanish quietly, without warning? Welcome to the days when insecurity sneaks in like a shadow that won't leave, even when they pretend not to feel it. Up until now, they were in denial, following what their pride told them. Oh, they'll message me, they always do. They're just looking for attention. But pride has a short shelf life. By the 6th day, that facade crumbles. Doubt begins to grow, not as a fleeting thought, but as a tightness in their chest, an unease that won't go away. Now they're not just wondering where you are, they're questioning whether you'll ever come back. Think about trying to hold sand in your hand. At first it seems easy, but the more you squeeze, the more it slips away until there's hardly anything left. That's how they're feeling right now. The harder they try to convince themselves they still have you, the more your silence proves otherwise. And that, my friend, is terrifying. Now they feel the cracks that started back then spreading like fissures in glass. During days 6 and 7, they cling to their phones. Every ping, every notification makes their hearts race, hoping it's you. And when it's not, anxiety rises. They bet you would weaken, that you'd send a quick hi just to check in. But you didn't cave. You became a whirlwind of silence they never anticipated. And now fear hovers over their thoughts. And that fear, my friend, begins to shift everything. Did I really lose them? Was it serious? Did I go too far? These doubts whirl in their minds like a storm. They start posting songs about longing, quotes about moving on, trying to convince themselves and others that they're okay. But let's be honest, if they didn't care, they wouldn't even think of you, right? Let's be real. It's not easy for you either. On days 6 and 7, you might feel tempted to go back. That little voice whispers, just take a peek, see if they miss you. But pay attention. That voice is just your weak side trying to pull you back. It's the same voice that keeps many people stuck in toxic relationships, always chasing after those who don't value them. But now you're breaking free from that cycle. You're reclaiming your strength, not by doing more, but by doing less. Staying quiet, standing firm, letting silence say what no words ever could. The truth is that the idea they had of guaranteed affection from you is crumbling. And the beauty of silence is that it forces the other person to confront their own mess, face their own ghosts. They didn't count on this. They thought you'd come running back, as always. But now they're scared. Scared they lost something good and didn't realize it in time. So let's mark this moment. Write in the comments, I am who they fear losing. Write it with conviction, I am who they fear losing. Show everyone that you're no longer trailing behind anyone. Now it's them who are left wondering about you, at least in their minds. Stay with me, because between days 8 and 10, that fear transforms into something heavier. That's when they start to think of the worst-case scenarios. Stick around, because the storm is just beginning. Days 8 to 10, the whirlwind. Did they really go away for good? Sometimes the hardest part isn't letting something go. It's realizing that you were holding on to something that was never truly yours. And this is where things get serious, my friends. We reach days 8 to 10 when that hidden fear comes to the surface. It's no longer a nuisance you can ignore. Now it's a slow descent, a real anxiety. Will you come back? Until now, they were still relying on the old script, the one that said you would give in because that's how it's always been. But you've changed the narrative. You burned the script. Now they're lost, not knowing what to do. staring into the void where your presence used to be. And silence has this power. It not only removes you from their life, but it forces the other person to confront the empty space. But humans don't deal well with the unknown. It's like standing in front of a dark forest. Any noise seems like a dangerous creature. That's what's happening to them now. Your silence has turned into noise in their heads, and they don't know if it's just the wind or something much worse. They're there, in the dark, imagining things. Are you already with someone else? Were they just a phase in your life? This is the whirlwind. Their minds start to play tricks on them. And all of this is due to one thing: your silence. What's even more impressive is that you didn't need to do anything. No messages, no likes, no little signs. You just stayed quiet, letting time act like a clock that never stops. Now they're trying to escape their own heads, keeping busy with work, friends, distractions, anything to silence that annoying voice inside. But silence is persistent. It shows up when they're about to sleep, when a conversation ends, in those empty moments when your name used to light up their phone screen. That's why, between days 8 and 10, the pain becomes real. The fear isn't just of losing you, it's the panic of being replaced. That's the ghost that hovers nearby, imagining that someone else might be in their place now, receiving your attention, your affection, your time. Just thinking about this drives them crazy. They start looking at old messages, rereading past conversations, trying to find signs. Did I miss something? Were they already distancing themselves? Each attempt to understand only digs them deeper into a hole, because on your side, nothing is coming back. No answers, no explanations, just more space for fear to grow. And in that space, their heads become a whirlwind. It's now that you need to stay truly firm, because at this point, doubts may also start to creep in. You might think, is this really working? Should I break the silence just to see? But listen closely. No. This is the key moment. The point where most slip up. Just when the other side is beginning to feel the weight of what they've done. When the silence is about to turn into victory, that's when many give up. But not you. You're different. You have self-control. You understand that true power lies not in chasing after them, but in staying put, firm, while the confusion swirls in their heads. Remember, they thought you would follow the script they created, but you didn't. You flipped the table, changed the plan, and now they're lost, not knowing where to go. This is the power of silent firmness, letting silence reveal everything without needing to say a word. So, let's seal this moment with clarity. Write in the comments, I am unique. Say it loud, say it with confidence. I am unique. Show yourself in the world that you know your worth and won't chase after those who doubt it. Stay close, because from day 11 to 14 is when regret starts to kick in. It's when they stop blaming you and start blaming themselves. Stay strong, because things are about to get tighter. Days 11 to 14. Regret enters the scene. Did I mess everything up? We suffer more from what we imagine than from what actually happens. When day 11 arrives, reality starts to hurt, but not for you, for them. That reality they tried so hard to avoid. Repeating to themselves, they'll come back, they always do. But look, the longer the silence drags on, the more imagination becomes their enemy. And between days 11 and 14, regret hits hard. Think of a house of cards, tall and fragile, built on pride. A gust of wind, a small tremor, and it all comes crashing down. Their confidence was like that, made of assumptions, based on the idea that you needed them more than they needed you. They believed you would give in, that you couldn't stand being silent. But your silence became that gentle wind that toppled everything. And now, guilt starts to point inward. The questions that were once pushed away now scream inside. Did I ruin everything? Did I think they would never leave? For the first time, they feel fragile. Until now, they thought they were on top. But silence changed the game. Now, you're the one in control. No longer are they the ones receiving messages. They're the ones trying to understand what happened, but only inside their own heads. And you, up to this point, you haven't said a word. You haven't liked anything. You haven't sent a hi. And yet, in their minds, you've become larger than ever. This is the power of distance. Your absence amplifies your presence. It fills every little spot where you used to be, leaving the environment full of unanswered questions. Perhaps now they'll start sending some signals. They might send a funny sticker, respond to an old story, small attempts disguised as accidental. But understand this, that's not an attempt to return. it's just fear. It's just a way to confirm whether you're still around, whether you haven't left for good. But you're smarter. You know that if you respond now, everything resets. It shows you still have influence over them. And remember this too, they play games in their own heads. They tell themselves, I didn't care that much. They tell their friends, I've moved on. But at night, when everything gets quiet and the phone doesn't buzz anymore, that's when silence screams. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff, throwing a stone into the sea, waiting to hear the sound of the fall, to see a sign, anything, and nothing, just emptiness, just silence. That's how they feel right now. They've thrown everything, actions, words, waiting for some reaction, and nothing came. And that nothing is what scares them the most. Yes, it's hard for you too. You feel the urge to respond, to see how things are, to end the tension. But maturity isn't about doing what's easy. It's about doing what needs to be done. And right now, what needs to be done is to stay strong. You are teaching them something they will never forget. They didn't know you were this strong. You're not going to run after them. You're not going to beg. And you're not going to diminish yourself to fit into the space they tried to push you into. You are changing the narrative, not with words, but with silence. This, my friends, is strength. Most people never manage to access this power. This is where regret begins to surface, where they start to realize they may have made a mistake. Perhaps they pressured too much, asked for too much, acted too quickly. Their pride is breaking, and what lies beneath is fear. Fear of losing someone they cannot replace. So, let's solidify this moment with power. Write in the comments right now, I deserve regret. Write it. Own it. I deserve regret. Show yourself and the world around you that you know your worth and that you're not afraid to let others feel the absence of that. Stay close, because between the 15th and the 17th is when the cracks they tried to ignore begin to crumble. It's when the urge to reach out becomes impossible to bear. Stay close, because the search is about to begin. Days 15 to 17, the desire to get in touch. I can't take this silence anymore. The more you remain silent, the more they hear their own thoughts. We've arrived, folks. Days 15 to 17, the days when silence becomes too loud to ignore. This is no longer about curiosity, nor games of pride. It's not just a question. This is about survival. Their minds are screaming, their pride is breaking, and the urge to reach out becomes unbearable. They can't take it any longer. They can no longer bear the sound of their own thoughts where your voice used to be. Until now, they managed to distract themselves. They could build that wall of pride, posting on social media, pretending they were fine. But all of that was just noise to hide the truth. And silence. Silence removes all that noise. Silence forces them to confront the uncertainty. Here's a harsh truth about human nature. We can endure many things, but uncertainty is that itch that you just can't scratch. The unanswered question. And this question is devouring them right now. Where have you gone? Why haven't you reached out? Have I pushed you away forever? The storm they tried to avoid has finally caught up with them. Your silence is the center of that storm, and now they are desperately searching for shelter. They need a sign, a hint, a glimmer of hope that you're still there, that you haven't completely abandoned them. But here's where the game changes. They don't know how to reach out without losing face. Pride is treacherous. It keeps people stuck in patterns that don't serve them well. They want to break the silence, but they don't want to appear weak, so they try to be creative. Maybe they send a vague message, something trivial like, "Hey, I saw something that reminded me of you." Or perhaps they comment on an old post, just enough to grab your attention without seeming too invested. But what's really happening behind these little actions is that they're trying to find relief. They hope you'll respond, that you'll take the bait, that you'll give back the control they are losing. But you've already learned. You know that if you give in, you'll be telling them that their comfort is worth more than your power. Let me give you a comparison. Imagine you're on a long, exhausting hike. You've walked a lot, your legs are heavy. Your mind is begging you to stop, to turn back. But just beyond that uphill stretch, you will see something that will make all the effort worthwhile. That's where you are now. You've held out for 15 days, resisted the urge to reach out, and now you're almost there. Don't stop now. Don't let a moment of weakness destroy weeks of discipline, because right now they are feeling the pressure. The cracks are turning into fractures, and they won't be able to hold on for much longer. Their pride is like a dam ready to burst, and when that happens, they will try to communicate genuinely, Not with vague messages or insignificant comments, but with emotion, with questions they can't answer alone. Are you okay? Where have you been? Can we talk? This will happen, but only if you stay strong. And let's be honest, this is where it also gets tough for you. You feel the pull, the silence echoing in your mind. You wonder if they're thinking about you, if this is working. But remember, my friends, this isn't about them. It's about you reclaiming your power, about showing yourself that you don't need anyone's approval to know your worth. You've broken the pattern, turned the tables, and now they're dancing to your tune, even if they don't realize it. So let's mark this moment. Write in the comments now, I hold the control. Say it with confidence, say it with pride. I hold the control. Show yourself and the world around you that you're not just playing this game, you're mastering it. That your silence is not weakness. It's the most powerful message you've ever sent. Here on the screen, 2 videos are popping up with a lot of knowledge. Click on them and continue your journey of self-discovery. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video.